Hello, my name is Matthew Van I'm a time-lapse photographer living in London. This channel is all about time-lapse travel tutorials, and I just realized that I haven't turned my YouTube lights on. There we go. Hello. Today we are talking about a camera that has gotten a lot of attention online. The Canon EOS R5. Canon's latest full-frame mirrorless camera has gotten a lot of people talking about it. People love it. People hate it. People are idiots. I don't care about people, I care about time-lapse photography. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about what the R5 has for us as far as time warping goes. So this video will talk about the built-in time-lapse features that you can find in the EOS R5. I don't have an R5 myself, sadly, which is a first. Usually, I get early access to cameras thanks to the lovely people at Canon Australia. However, I'm in London now, and that's quite far away, so hello, Canon UK. However, my friend Scott Stramick over in Sydney, who's helped me out by sending over video footage of the built-in menus, of course the menus are built-in, of the built-in time-lapse modes that are in this camera. So, thank you Scott, and let's begin. Now, to the camera, I'm not going to go over the specs. I assume if you're watching this, you know most of it. It's got a 45 megapixel sensor, it's got all this 8K video stuff, blah blah blah, and it has an external port in which we can plug a time-lapse remote, also known as an intervalometer, or an intervalometer, as we say in Antwerp. If you want to know more about time-lapse remotes specifically, I've got a video about cheap, medium, and expensive remotes right here that you can check out if you would like to do so. Now, the two other ways that we can shoot time-lapses with the R5, besides plugging in an external remote, is either in photo mode or in video mode. Let's go over photo mode first. Time-lapse photo mode in the R5 is called interval timer, as you can see at the top of the menu. It allows you to set a minimum interval of 1 second and a maximum number of shots of 99. 2 digits. If that was 4 digits, that'd be sweet. Now, there's nothing really wrong with this. You can just set it to 0 to shoot an infinite number of shots, but this means you have to keep track on a notepad or using your watch or a stopwatch, whatever, to make sure that you don't overshoot or undershoot your sequence. Again, if you're an engineer or a developer and you work at Canon, let me know. I'd love to talk to you about this and how we can make this better. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, I've shot an infinite number of times on this infinite mode on my 6D Mark IIs, for example. However, it would make life a little bit easier if you had those 4 digits there. This photo mode, of course, allows you to shoot RAWs and JPEGs at the same time using the built-in intervalometer. Second or third way, depending on how you look at it, of shooting time-lapses on the R5 is if you flick to movie mode, and then it's called time-lapse movie mode. What a surprise. This mode allows you to shoot in full HD, Ultra HD, or 8K, which is quite exciting. I don't know how useful that's going to be for a lot of people, but it's good to have that option in there, I guess. Sadly, this only records video frames and then renders the video at the end. That is nice to have, but I wish in this mode that we could also have the recording of RAWs or JPEGs. I assume it's either an HEVC video that comes out of this, or there are HEIF stills that are somehow bundled together into a video file in camera. I don't have the camera, so I don't really know, but that's my guess. Now, funnily enough, the minimum interval in this time-lapse movie mode is 2 seconds, and I, for the life of me, cannot wrap my head around this. It's like that on other cameras as well. But if your camera can shoot 8K 30 frames raw video, why can't it shoot 1 raw video frame per second? Why is it 2 seconds? Again, if you are a Canon developer or engineer or anyone involved, please give me a buzz. I'd love to chat to you about how we can make this an even better system. Now, the good thing about time-lapse movie mode is you get that exposure leveling thing built in, where instead of having a fixed exposure, it changes over time. This is useful for when you're shooting Holy Grail time-lapses, which are sunset or sunrise time-lapses, where it's hard to deal with the changing light. If you now flick your camera to aperture priority mode and you set your ISO to auto and you adjust your minimum and maximum ISO settings, the camera will slowly and gradually over time ramp its exposure so that you have a completely flicker-free day to night Holy Grail sequence. It's good to have that built in, but once again, it would be good to have those RAWs as well. Also, for some reason, this mode is limited to 3,600 images per shot, which I assume has something to do with video file size or storage sizes on memory cards. I'm not entirely sure. I guess time will tell and we'll find out more in the future. Now, it's good to remember that any shortcomings this camera may have when it comes to time-lapse shooting can be remedied by using external time-lapse controllers or using advanced post-processing software like LR Time-lapse. If you don't know what LR Time-lapse is, highly recommend watching this video, which goes all over that beautiful, magnificent time-lapse editing software. Now, what else do I like about this camera that is relevant to time-lapse photography? First up, the viewfinder I'm sure is going to be great for shooting hyperlapses with a built-in level, etc. And also the image stabilization that we now have built in up to 8 stops apparently is quite mind-blowing. It's going to be great for shooting hyperlapses when you're shooting handheld, and when you're shooting in low light, where you sometimes want to drag your shutter to get light trails, for example. There's just times where you, for example, aren't allowed to use a tripod, or it's too bulky, too slow, you want to be quick, but you still want to kind of drag the shutter, so I'm quite excited about that image stabilizer. The CF Express card slot is great for fast reading and writing data. There's nothing more annoying than having to wait for like 20 minutes to offload your camera's files. And obviously it's going to have absolutely amazing autofocus, colors, dynamic range and all that stuff. I'm really quite excited to try out this camera for myself. Hopefully I'll get it soon, and then we can go more in depth and do an actual review of these files and see how it performs when shooting holy grails, etc. That being said, I still thought this was useful. I've looked for this information myself and couldn't really find it anywhere, so hopefully you appreciate this little insight into the R5's time-lapse modes, and hopefully it's useful. If you have any questions about it, if you love it, if you hate it, if you want to start a flame war in the comments, please do so. Any comment helps. The engagement on this channel, much appreciated. Thanks for the growth. And finally, another big thanks to my buddy Scott for helping out with this footage. Wouldn't be possible to make this video without you. So if you like this video as well, please go over to Instagram and check out Scott's account. He's got some great travel and landscape photography. Leave a comment that I sent you if you're over there. That would be very much appreciated. And that's about it. If you like what I do, consider supporting me on Patreon or checking out my time-lapse ebooks. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, as always, drop them down below in the comments. Subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that junk. You know what it is. All that junk, you know what it is here at the end. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully see you on the next video. Goodbye.